Good evening, everyone. It is Friday, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'd love to welcome everybody to the Independent Investor Channel live stream, the one, the only live stream on YouTube delivered by me, yours truly. My name is Ryan. Been doing the project quite a while here. This is our opportunity to break through for people. It is your equal opportunity to meet me halfway and break free. This is an insistence of mine. This is a project of mine. I'm very, very forthcoming with the intent of my message. I do not do YouTube for a living. Okay. I think what I would love to request of you is relatability in my message, and that I'd like people to watch me and relate with what I do every single day. Let me give you a little taste. I wake up every single day. I work a day job. It is a blue collar day job. I love my job. It is a service oriented job. It is one that involves me working very, very hard and training in that. So, my side hustle here, which is YouTube, a little bit more than a side hustle, it's turned into something very, very special in that we get to impact people not only here in the United States, but we get to impact people across the globe. So we're very straightforward with our message here and what we're trying to get through for people, and challenge what it is that we think we know about personal finance and budgeting. And people may ask, why is it that you share your portfolios? Isn't that something that's against the rules? I don't play by rules. Mm, yeah. And if you can resonate with the idea of taking control in whatever capacity, I had to let the bank have it today. I've been with them 20 years, Bank of America. Had to let them have it today. They made a decision on an application that I have in with them, and it's been 2 months in the process. And I said, that's not going to work. You're going to have to reconsider, resubmit. No problem. Here's my personal number. Call me. Fight, man. Fight. It's amazing to me how I just slightly get a little bit complacent on the goings on in society. And man, if you're not careful, it'll just steamroll right over you. It'll make a lemmings out of you. hmm Yeah. Yep. I think this society would just rather have you fall in line like a bunch of Hindu cows and just do what it is that they've established for you in way of swim lanes. There are no swim lanes on my channel. There are no swim lanes in your life outside of the ones that you define for yourselves. That's simple. The quicker you can come to this reality, the better off you'll be. Uh, Also, the the, um, the quicker you can come to the fact that I am just a regular fella. Certainly, I do believe that what we're doing here is special. I'm not a myth. I'm not a legend. My grandfather was. hmm Yeah, and we're losing some of that old school work ethic. The down and dirty in the trenches, man. Get down and just rip it. Roll your sleeves up and go to work. We're losing some of that. I don't know if we'll ever be able to get it back. I really don't know. I don't know if we'll evolve to a better place with the new generation. I don't know. I'm not here to judge those types of things. I do try to hold on to some of that work ethic because it is, in some capacity, perhaps maybe large, a reason for my success in this life. My ability to persevere when times are hard. I've incurred a lot of barriers in my life, and I've overcome a lot. But as far as you coming in here, I think a lot of people perhaps maybe want to justify for themselves the time that they spent. In other words, is this worth it? Is this worth 60 minutes a week? This is a big commitment, right? I mean, you could be at the bar, right, having some whiskey. Why would you want to stay and have a drink with me in the comforts of your home? This is probably a little bit more. Last week was a little bit of JD. This is a little bit of Crown Royal of the black variety. So perhaps maybe 62 cents tonight. Cheers to you guys. hmm we try to make an impact for people. We really do, man. All right. I'm no different than you. I just use this opportunity to come on and talk to people, share my story, which is special. It'll continue to be special. The unfortunate part about it, and I think if you can agree with this, if you want to get in early, it's probably better to do so. Insofar as I'm not a millionaire, I will be. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm watching the action in the portfolio very, very carefully. I'm a steward of this game. I really am. I have the ability to look at financial markets and not act upon them. And what I'm going to do tonight for you guys is going to be extra special. I threw on the title that I'm up 50 grand. I am. That's what it is. If it were $5 or 100,000, would you think more or less of me? Um, the whole intent is to get to the granular. What have I done over the last month to render what a lot of people earn in a year's salary? What I will suggest to you is this. I earn about that per year in salary. But as far as my stock portfolio goes, that is a completely independent application that I share openly with the audience in what I do, why I do it, how I do it. No problem. I would share that with anybody out there. If there was one patron that came in here Friday and look to really sit back and say, hold on, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to listen. I'm going to try to understand where this guy's coming from, how he's able to do this, what type of perspective he has, not only over the money piece, but the life piece as well. Because, man, I tell you what, guys, I can put the portfolio together for you. There's no doubt about it. I can make those tried and true shares across social media that are going to be accepted by the few out there that really resonate with the idea of building a passive investing base for themselves, dollar cost averaging that over time. Very, very simple philosophies. I share that strategy. It works, baby. It works. Far more people are attracted to the allure of gambling. It's a lot more sexy. The lights, the euphoria, right? The chance of winning on the spot right now. I'm not sure if the human mind was altogether conditioned to understand really the idea of getting involved in a investing program for the totality of their life. Okay, really spending the minutes and the hours and the weeks and the months and the years devoted to the stock market. And I mean, just to be a participant, okay? This is not, the stock market is what it is, okay? Don't make it more than what it needs to be. You don't have to worship it, okay? What we're calling for individual retail investors is to identify your capacity to become a participant in the market. Super important. And I don't care if you're entering into the market and you have $25 of surplus capital to segue into a wealth building strategy for yourself, guys. You'll be amazed. Okay. And if you don't get caught up in all the whole getting, over on the Joneses and keeping up with the Joneses and getting under the Joneses, I would just as soon punch the Joneses in the face, be honest with you, because I don't pay attention to what other people do. And although I do appreciate the accolades, I got my boy Matt Money in the house. I do appreciate this. We have a little fun with the channel. That's all good and plenty. But I tell you what, the very thing that I'm trying to fight is people being put on a pedestal. I think people are put on a pedestal for no reason. I was scrolling through my phone tonight to try to identify some news, kill a little time, right? And I can't do so without finding, all of the Kardashians on there, some soccer player. I got to have Benifer. I've got to have that. Interesting enough. I mean, I was downtown in Times Square this morning, opening up the Nasdaq at the Nasdaq Marketplace. That's cool. That's special. You want to give some kudos to the man, the myth, the legend? Go ahead and do that. I was down there. I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was an incredible experience, man. I've been to the New York Stock Exchange twice, actually, on the floor. This was the first time to the NASDAQ marketplace. That stuff I love to share with you guys because it brings retail investors that much closer to the facade, the mystique, the amazing structure of the U.S. stock market, right? And for those investors out there, if you were 19, 20, 21, I actually talk as if I'm delivering a message to let's say a potential for somebody that was hungry, like I was when I was younger in my life, looking for that psychology of the markets, because that's the most important thing. Usually when I can build a portfolio in 5 minutes. I can, right? But in the wrong hands, that portfolio that I've built in 5 minutes to succeed, okay? Individual investors will take that portfolio, and if they are ill prepared to take on the responsibility that it takes to monitor and in most cases do nothing to allow that portfolio to evolve over time is really, really intriguing to me. And a lot of people don't have that on the onset. Can they get it? Yes, they can get it through some proper counsel. They can get it through some coaching and some downright motivation. I provide an angle of a tutorial for investors out there that come on and they hang out with me for a bit. That's no problem. I question sometimes if people really, really do want this. Yeah, I know. Um, and I think there's a lot of unorthodox things that I do that people would question out there, as far as, what it is that I do. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I think I could do better tonight. You guys are really going to enjoy this. This is a self-evaluation of myself. I'm going to share it with you guys and things that I actually feel like I do well. All right. So this will be an opportunity for you guys to just sit back. We will review the portfolios as I always do. This will be an opportunity for you to kind of sit back and say, man alive, nobody's perfect here. I don't believe in myths and legends. There's a lot of people I look up to. I'm a big Michael Jordan fan. I was a big Mike Tyson fan. I'm a big music buff. You know, I would consider the I2 live stream your opportunity to break on through to the other side, man. Break on through, man. Big Doors fan. I'm just a lover of life, man. I pay attention. I love the arts. I'm a lover of people. I really am. For those people that are actually looking to get ahead, don't know how, and can be really, really influenced to the better if they take on this responsibility for themselves. That's kind of what I'm looking to drive to, is those people who can just as easily, man, tune in to me with the comforts of this little device right here that I didn't grow up with when I was growing up in the country. All right. We had a dial up internet connection. You guys remember those days? Right. And it would take like 20 minutes to download a song, but I'd be doing it, man, because I'd be like, this is incredible, man. I have no idea how it works, but this is fantastic. But the power, man, to hit the subscribe button to the live stream, hit the subscribe button to the channel. They understand what it is that I'm doing with this project. 5 years well spent, every minute of it well spent. I keep it in a box. I really, really do. Because when I'm engaged in this project, I'm engaged 100%. But you guys need to understand where I'm coming from, man. I do not wake up every single morning with the intent of putting out what people want to hear. Let me repeat. I do not do this project to entertain you, okay? I do not put this message out to double down on the news of the day. I don't do that, okay? These are life lessons that you can take, learn, and deploy for your own benefit, all right? And the inherent value lies in the message itself, guys. Welcome to the message. So glad you be with me. Pour a drink, sit back and relax as I do my self evaluation for you guys. This will be a special treat for you guys. You'll learn a lot from it, man. And hopefully, after a few minutes during a live stream with me, you'll actually end up a better person and have maybe a renewed sense of direction in your life and where we're going and building financial wealth for you, your family, into your future, guys. Be back with you in just a moment. try to make a highlight of the audience here, man. You guys are the stars of the show, man. It's kind of cool. It'd be great, man. I would always like to tune into a message like mine and just be a visitor of the channel, and understand that you're in really, really good company. Chase is one of those guys, and it's been with me a while, man. It's kind of cool. It's weird for me as a creator because I only know folks by the thumbnail, but I always try to give folks a few moments of just shout out, man, for being part of this community and helping kind of support your own initiative. That's all I ever care about. I'm waiting for you to put this thing to work, and I know Chase does, but anybody else in this community, Chase kind of helps me foot stomp how important it is to adhere to some of the things, or at least be aware of some of the things that I talk about, with especially fee reduction in accounts. That's a huge thing that people need to just be more aware of. But I certainly want to give proper credence and call out. And I only ever ask that if you find a piece of motivation or coaching on the channel, that eventually down the line, you come back and say, "Hey, man, I did this and this and this, and it's really worked out for me." Yeah, that right there is special. And unlike some of the shallow things that I scroll through on the main media, especially and social media. Um, I sometimes question the impact that's being made there. I really do. I think once you're kind of caught up in that world, I mean, I was down in Times Square today, just kind of being like, this is kind of made up. It's not really, it's not real. I don't know, kind of confusing. It's cool. It's entertaining for me, man. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm just soaking it in, but doesn't really speak to the acknowledgement of the reality that probably most of us are working, trying to get by, trying to put a little aside for ourselves, and one less dollar that can go to the system, rather be redirected to our own personal program. I think is $1 as a step in the right direction for people. And if people could kind of understand that they need to be the number one investment in their life, they really do. I think that the better off we'll be. It's great to see Shaded Life in here, my brother. It's great to see you, man. Very, very cool. Invest as a side gig. I think if we could get people to understand that um, it's something that they have to do. For me, investing is part of my life. The independent investor is a side gig for me, my friend. Investing is something that just clicks with me. It just makes sense. If I can look at a company like Verizon or T-Mobile, or I can look at the regulated utilities like Duke and Southern Company and many others, Nextera, Avangrid, I invest in them all. The idea is to put a little bit of money that would have been spent elsewhere, as a pledge to those good companies that are making, you know, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars in top line revenues and profits, investing back in their business, and dare I say, paying shareholders of record that participate in these businesses. Just makes sense to me, man. It just makes sense. And it's amazing to me how more people don't speak openly about investing. I think a lot of people, they think I'm crazy. I share my portfolio for the most part. I've got a little bit more that I don't disclose on social media, and that's fine. You get the gist. I mean, I give you down to the granular dollar amount what the total portfolio value is and the holdings that exist therein. But I don't know. I would say that the hobby of covering financial markets is something that I'm fascinated by. I cover it every single day. I'm not expecting you guys to have that level of ferocity. If you want to, that's great. I don't think it really speaks a whole lot to my bottom line. I really don't. As a matter of fact, it could hurt me. It really could. I don't know. I think for a lot of people, the simple truth about investing is that if I had to do things over again, I would have done them different with the knowledge that I have now. And if I could impart to you, and I know there's people that come to the message, and perhaps maybe they are looking for a little bit of guidance, and they can use me as an example of, for the most part, what to do. I mean, there's no guarantee in investing, but With the amount of mistakes that I've made, there's probably very little to no excuse for me to have the portfolio built the way that I have and what I've been able to accomplish in my life. However, if you pay close attention to the things that I say about what I do, what I have in my life, what I'm looking to achieve in my life, where my aspirations lie, what keeps me going, how do I derive my motivation? These are all questions, man, that if you just think that you can tune into me and say, I get it, I can do what Ryan does, and I'm going to start tomorrow. It may take a little bit more trial and error. Understand what works for you, understand your own personal gig. Hell, you might find that you do things three times better than I do it. You know, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, all through the ups and the downs in my particular program, they're mine. And the whole idea here is to find what works for you. Okay, so you can be as lucky as this gal right here. All right, looking to piece together a foundation of hard work over the course of a lifetime, right? And then step into retirement. We spoke about last week on a pretty impassioned message. I watched that back. That was a pretty awesome message. If you watched that, you'd be better for it, no doubt. It's not the popular "Hey, the stock market's going to zero" title, which I get anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 views on it. I knew I'd get less than 1,000. I called 300. I got double that last week, which is okay too. I know people who come in here that they want the goods, and I'm interested in good subscribers like Becky who really resonate with the message. And be quite honest with you, this is where my obligation lies, is kind folks like this. It really is. And every single week, it's these folks right here that have a high level of expectation. Of me. I expect that Becky expects of me very, very good things, and I can deliver on those goods. I really can. I'm not Graham Stephan. I'm just Ryan, and that's good enough. It really is, because I've watched some of the other YouTube channel creators, and they're incredible. I guess they're very good at garnering an audience. But if you look back through history, there's been a lot of people who are very, very good at getting people to follow them, and they really just didn't have a message worth following. If you catch my drift. All right. So I'm going to run through these right here. These are going to be kind of fun. These are things that I really thought about, really strike at the self-evaluation piece. And for you guys, perhaps maybe you can resonate with some of these things. And I'm going to start with the things that I think I can do better. All right. These are the things that I think maybe I don't do very good. In other words, things I think I can do better. All right. Dollar cost average to passive. Okay. If I can impart to you this, you're going to have all kinds of moonshots. You're going to have all kinds of distraction. You're going to have all kinds of people, even like myself, who are awful persuasive with, you know, this and that. I can motivate people and this and that and this and that. Okay. The sheer reality is very, very simple. Okay. Seeking your participation in financial markets needs to be done holistically, with the idea of diversification and consistent funding of that diversified base over time. That right there is the essence of investing. It is. All right. Contrary to some, I'm not going to name names, um, contrary to some people out there who are very, very convinced that they have all the answers, throw around fancy terms like due diligence, something that I'm going to stop actually providing to you guys, because every time I say it, I cringe a little bit, because I know it almost doesn't exist, because it is an infinite activity. I would consider the due diligence that I've done on Highly on Holdings, which is my most convicted stock right now, to be the level of due diligence beyond all else. I can tell you most everything about that company that exists. That's due diligence. However, when it's perceived through social media that because I recommend a stock like Johnson and Johnson, that all of a sudden I've done due diligence on it, and therefore, boom, 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 you need to run and fall over yourself to start a Robinhood account and invest in Johnson and Johnson because it's going to give you 20% returns every year. That's just not the truth. Value investing is going to give you a different type of avenue and a different type of exposure protocol to the stock market. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I like it in some level of scale. I do. I like the dividend renderings. You guys know how I seek that out. But the bulk of my wealth is devoted to a dollar cost average to passive investments to embolden those total stock market indexes and even, dare I say, the S&P 500. And I wouldn't have been afraid to actually step those up into some real sizable amounts. The portfolios that I'm going to share with you collectively have a pretty sizable amount. But I think if I could have collectively kept those things together, and trust me, someday, guys, I'm going to actually kind of downsize the portfolio a little bit, streamline it a little bit, and really set it up with strategic goals based on taking 100% of the pie and chopping it up. It's a fun activity. You guys, some of you guys, they're starting investing, need to just continue to build to that end, same as me. But to get to that end takes years, and I might be a little bit closer to the latter end than some of you guys who are less than six-figure investors, less than 50,000 investors, less than 25, or even, dare I say, starting less than $10,000 investors. And you'll meet every one of those thresholds. I have no doubt for you. You'll meet them. Okay, they are achievable. But to dollar cost average on a consistent basis to passive ETFs or index funds, whatever it is that suits your fancy, very, very low cost to entry in the right account, the self-directed Roth IRA account, probably the best things that I could share with you and things that I wish I could do better. I do them okay now. I wish I would have done them earlier, and I wish I would have done them as aggressively as I possibly could, because I would have had the insight to know what I was doing was absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Number two, build a base in the total stock market index. The VTI is a good one. I like the S&P 500, no problem. You're seeking diversification in a capacity to have 500 of the large cap domestic stock market. And if it suits your fancy, right, go with the VTI with the total stock market index. You just need probably one, depending on what kind of suits your fancy. Do some research on either one, but I really like the diversified base of VTI. It's got about 4,000 stocks in it. Very, very low cost to entry at 0.03 of an expense ratio over time. Look to just build that mountain and focus your time elsewhere. Okay. Don't focus it on due diligence because somebody on YouTube told you that they did due diligence and therefore you have to do it. You review the balance sheet one time and that's your due diligence. Okay. Just don't waste your freaking time. All right. Build up that total stock market index. This is something that I feel like I could have done better. I have starting positions. I have 53 shares of VTI. At this point in my life, I should have hundreds of shares of VTI, and I don't. I don't. I have really nice exposure to the S&P. I have nice exposure to VTI. I have the specialty ETF portfolio, which is working well for me. That's fine. And then I finally have the index fund in my TSP, which also works fine. So collectively, I have some sizable wealth in passive investing, but I wish I would have focused on more. It's something that I earmark as kind of a delta in my life, something that I could have done better at if I just went a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more streamlined with my program, I think. Number three, avoiding single stocks so much. Holy Jesus, did I just say that? Yes, I freaking did. People come in here, you get a little bit of opinion. Look, I could play into all of the jargon all the time, guys. I could sit here and tell you, yeah, build a perfect portfolio of 15 stocks when I know damn well that's not possible. It's not possible. You're going to underperform the S&P 500 year in and year out. You're going to underperform. Single stocks are great. What is wrong with owning Johnson and Johnson through the S&P 500 or for the Nasdaq, for crying out loud? Own the triple Qs if that's what you want. But man alive, it's okay to own these single stocks through the broader index because I tell you what, man, you enter into a company that's on a hot streak and they're really riding some really good earnings. Every company dries up and goes through dry spells of retracted earnings, retracted business expansion, and that retraction can go for many, many years. Do you want to be stuck holding the bag on single stock? Of course not. Just invest in the indexes that contain those stocks. And if the stocks go through a swoon, no problem. You own the rest of the index that can carry you through those hard times and actually help supplement that goal of matching the market, not beating it, and especially not underperforming it. But a lot of people, by nature of pursuance of outperformance of the market, end up underachieving the market, and they really, really hurt their ability for long-term compounding growth over time by doing so. All right. Number four, I already talked about. Stop saying due diligence. I do it all the time. I hate it. I just think it's stupid. I want to look at a stock. You're never going to know all the answers. Never. Look at Hyzon Motors this week. hmm there was some information out there, but enough confidence to act upon that information to know what was going on in China. Yeah, that takes. I mean, that escaped a lot of the technical minds out there that were covering Hyzon with a price target of $8. There was no way that Hyliion could move in conjunction with Hyzon without Hyzon being kind of a step above there for a long, long time. You think I'm joking? Go look at the charts for the last year. Very, very close correlation. Okay. Hyzon just dropped about 40% of its value over the last couple days. Yeah, kind of a sad story because me personally, what I looked at on the surface was actually pretty exciting. But it just goes to show you, man, when you zag and the market zigs on you, it could leave you holding the bag pretty good if you're not willing to accept the level of research and accept the level of the market that you sit on and really accept the amount of time that it could take to actually realize that trade or that investment to something special, which I do. All right. But one of the things I do really, really well is that I apply the methodology in the stock market to the best of what I feel actually works. I don't succumb to emotion. I don't succumb to bad stock trades. I don't succumb to freaking out when I have a stock go into a default. I think the big institutions, when they say, yeah, just use a stop loss, forget it. I've taken stocks into a lot of deep water only to have them come back and perform and come into the black for a nice successful trade. And it's something that goes with my conviction in what I believe. And I look to not necessarily throw in the towel on a company that maybe just going through hard time, but the company in and of itself is still intact, right? And to be very, very careful with that. Avoid speculation and hype. This is something that I wish I would have done altogether. A lot of people they follow the Hyliion trade very, very specifically. I actually exempt Hyliion from this conversation, but some of the other hype stocks, I tell you what, there was a lot of hype stocks that I looked at. I didn't invest in, but man alive, I sure sat back and watched a lot of people invest in them. And I don't know how many people got hurt. I don't know. I would suggest that perhaps thousands and thousands of investors got hurt by, especially the SPAC craze that we went through over the last couple of years. I hope some of those investors make a lot of money from some of those companies, but I don't think that's what happened in reality. I think a lot of people got crushed. That's what I think. Slightly presumptuous on my part, but I don't think I'm wrong. I don't. And so you're left holding the bag on some of these companies that really don't have the fundamentals to hold them together. And therefore, the stock becomes a victim of short selling. It becomes a victim of the hedge funds. And they don't ever have a chance to really shine through. They might have good technology. That doesn't matter when it comes out to, the debt load, the amount of shares issued, the amount of work that they have to do to even get to that top end revenue, let alone profit down the line. Okay, so avoiding speculation and hype. And there's a lot of people that'll tune into me and say, okay, yeah, no, I'm not interested in this. I'm interested in tuning into YouTube to understand what it is that is the next hype stock, and I'm looking for that first person that is the most excited and is the most aggressive on telling me where I need to put my money next. If that's your application, no problem. But the way that I just explained it to you should actually open your eyes, because that funny sixth sense on the back of your neck that tells you it's a scam, it's a scam, it's a scam, you should listen to that more. You really should. If it doesn't feel right to you, don't do it. All right. Be very, very careful. Again, you're going to have those rocket ships. You're going to have those things come your way in your life, and it's going to seem like the greatest opportunity ever. All I'm saying is the majority of the times in your deliberation of those, you should just learn to say no. No thanks. No thanks. No thanks. If you're abiding by rule number one, you're always looking to build your passive base anyway, and you don't have time nor the bandwidth to devote your time to doing the necessary due diligence and really even having the necessary risk tolerance to see a trade like that through. Number six is just stay simple. Guys, I cannot stress this enough, man. All too often, the stock market is made out to be some crazy complex thing, and it is. I question what it has to do with you. It's the most common thing that I talk about all the time, the S&P 500. You can invest it in a few different ways and methods. That's it. That's it. If you just heard me, simple, pure and simple. You own 500 of the US large cap companies. That's it. Large cap. You want to buy small caps, you can buy, you know, one of the small cap indexes if that's what you want to do. Okay. You can buy IVV, you can buy SPY. I enjoy VOO. I'm not really sure why I understand, and I don't, why people would opt for the higher fee product from the SPY, but to each his own. It's not going to make that much difference on the back end. SPY is a more frequently traded equity, so the liquidity is actually more prevalent than VOO. That's prudent. I get that. I do. But the expense ratio over the course of 30 or 40 years cost you about 18,000 bucks. So if you don't care about that and you care about the prestige of owning SPY, go with SPY, right? But if you're focused on that, it gives you less time to actually, you know, get involved in speculation and spread yourself too thin, man. Stay simple in your application. I say, well, Ryan, what does that mean? Can I just own one ETF in my Roth IRA? That's awful boring. When I'm out on the golf course, I want to be able to say, hey, I bought Dynotech and Synchromet, you know, which are going to provide the next best thing and allow us to store our data in the air that we breathe. Yeah, it could very well be. And it would be really, really fun to tell all your friends at the golf course while you're smoking your stogie that that's where you put your money. Chances of you losing in that application are far, far greater than you just keeping it simple and focusing in on what is tried and true to work in the stock market. Avoid overexposure. This is something, again, that if I was going to be critical of myself, I've taken a few strategic stabs in my wealth building. I have the opportunity to do so through the channel. I make a little bit of business income, a little bit, nothing crazy. I'm willing to save up over months and take those strategic stabs. But the sector specialty ETF portfolio is something that I've proven that you can make money. Is it necessary? No, no, I don't think that it's necessary. And people give me heat for it. It's no problem. I like it. I've made money with it. I like the ability to, identify with splitting the S&P 500 up into the 11 sectors. That's why I do it. Is it necessary? No, no, it's not. Does everybody need to do that? No, they don't. Now, VTI will satisfy that and then some. So build up your base there and avoid that kind of overexposure and really that overlap that I've spoke about on the history of the channel between owning, multiple equities in different buckets that overlap with each other. Some overlap is actually acceptable, but to be spread out so much, I don't know if I would do that if I had it to start over again. I think I would be a lot more streamlined with my application. There was time when I got up in starting a lot of accounts, and sometimes I do that for you guys to actually showcase. I mean, I was just hit up today by Interactive Brokers, and I'm deliberating on whether or not I will go with them. Mumu hits me up every other day. And the fact that, Stockmo and Meet Kevin and Graham Stephan and all those big Jacques G or whatever his name is all they're all part of it. I have mixed opinions about those folks. So if they're looking to blast their message out and just use me as another toadstool to blast their message out, yeah, I don't know, man. I enjoy using M1 Finance. I get it. Do I need M1 Finance? Probably not. Does it make things a little bit easier because of the uniqueness of the platform? Sure it does. So avoiding overexposure is something that you can sit back and say, gosh, Ryan talks about this one account all the time. Maybe that's all I need. I'm here to streamline and just tell you the answer. It's all you need. Trust me. It is all you need. And one thing, the last thing, criticism of myself, things I can do better is to be more patient. I'm a very aggressive person. It's one of the things that I actually put down as an attribute of myself. I'm willing to take a shot. I'm willing to continue to always be evolving and never complacent. That's just give you some insight for me. But to be more patient on this really does speak to my acknowledgement of volatile markets up and down all the time. And it's like, da, 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 da. But when I reflect over it over the course of the long term, which is where I should be more in the pocket as a patient investor, I notice that we're doing just fine. I noticed that we're doing just fine. Let's jump in and do some portfolio reviews. Then I'll get to some comments here. I'm going to rip through these really, really fast. We're up huge again. This is three weeks, 3 or 4 weeks going. We've swung big time. I mean, I was producing content at the very depths of the market there. It swooned all the way down to 4.25. We're up to 475, I believe, right now, which is $50,000 bill. I was not one of those proponents, and those that know me, I was telling you what you needed to hear, not necessarily what you wanted to hear, but I was telling what you needed to hear, and that was to stay true on financial markets if indeed you have a long-term goal. So back up above 70 in this account, nothing crazy. The WBD, that's an interesting play right here. Actually, pretty good entry point right here for Warner Brothers and Discovery. Yeah, that just spun off of AT&T. That's a good buy right here, actually. Traded at about 7 times forward earnings. But anyway, this is what we've got here. No liquidations to speak of. We are not liquidating stock right here. The only thing that I liquidated this week for you guys that follow me in the Hyliion story, I did actually get out of my Nikola long calls. Holy smokes, man. I took that into some deep, deep water. I think I was down $1,800 on that 10 share block. I actually got above $8, which was my strike price. Liquidated. I think I made $150 profit. I was glad to do that and free up my obligation there. It's the only real EV that I own right now is my large position in Hyliion. And we'll continue to own those, the easy shares to own. We're going to continue to enjoy the momentum that's building with that stock there. Roth 1 well above the 6-figure mark again. So very nice there at 103,000. Nothing's changed in this portfolio, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. I owned these names in the downturn. What has changed in 2 months? About $15,000. That's it. I've done nothing except for be a patient, passive investor. So while, yes, certain times it hurts to wake up in the morning and see the market down again, it sucks. It sucks. It seemed like it was down there every single day. My goodness, it's been terrible for the last year. I'm not saying that it's not going to remain terrible. I don't know. But the last 3 weeks has been a significant reprieve from the exacerbated sell-off and interpretation of the markets of the inflation situation that we have right now. The price of goods, et cetera, has been really, really cranky for the last since the fall of last year, but I think the market as a forward mechanism was looking at this stuff the beginning of January 2021. I've said this many, many times, and nobody was talking about it. And that's the beauty of the stock market. Nobody will. Nobody will. Anybody presuming that they would have understood the direction of the markets, they're full of it. They really are. Here's the specialty portfolio that I speak about. It's up all as well week over week, trying to approach that $25,000 mark here. This is 97 holdings here for about just shy of 33,000 in here. Here's the bond portfolio, sizably just working. This is the one that I'm dollar cost averaging right now at about 50 bucks or so a week. So trying to get that up to a respectable amount, then I'll let it grow on its own. Here's the TSP, which I marked there, the year over year performance, year to date performance in this with all the volatility up 2%. You know, this was down big. I funded this all the way through, but just amazing the progress that we've made. Vanguard's growth, 830. That's Robinhood. These are some of the accounts that I didn't need. I didn't need. The only thing I'm down on is Secure, which is the loan position here that I have, as well as crypto down here a little bit in the iTrust Capital account here. And there's the value 473,022 in the account. So trudging right along. It is what it is. If I don't reach my goal, I'll give it to my kids. It's that simple. But not too shabby for a kid from the country, man, who had a country education and ended up with a dream and a willingness to do whatever I needed to do, and I did. I made sacrifices to, do what I needed to do to take my shot. And I know you guys are taking your shot every single day, man. When you hit the car and you're hitting your commute, you're hitting your job hard. It's good stuff, man. I commend each and every one of you guys. We're all living significantly different lives, but I think the pursuance of something greater in our financial future is probably the common thread that we all have, and that's probably why perhaps maybe you feel a little bit of ownership to the community. At least that's what I would hope that you feel. And I like to embolden that. I do. I do not like to come onto social media and talk to an audience that I expect just to sit back and do what it is that I say. As a matter of fact, I would encourage you to have some guarded perspective on that type of behavior from people who seemingly have all the answers for you. I just don't believe it to be true. I don't. Yeah, dang, that's good. Crown Royal Black tonight, baby. Good stuff. It says Hyliion. I'm loving the price action. I am loving the price action. There is proposed legislation just this week, and I'll be dropping the Hyliion video. Now it's easy. It's a piece of cake. I do it every week. It's no problem. I've got people who I know who are hitting me up now, and they're like, "Hey, what about this deal?" And I was like, "Well, Jesus, I've said from the very beginning, man, and I'll say it again. The only way to win in this gig is to own it. That's the only way to win in this gig. It will be the most profits that are rendered on this name. Mark my words, hands down. The only way to invest in Hyliion Holdings is to buy it and own it. It's that simple. Buy it and own it. And we'll see what transpires. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't believe in that. I don't tell the future, but I've never been so excited about owning a company than I am owning Hyliion right here. And if you've heard me, you would at least spend a few moments that would be wasted on something else, taking a little bit of look-see. Take a little bit of look-see, man. And maybe you see what I see, maybe you don't, maybe you disagree. No problem. Make your own decisions for yourself. I've made mine. I've shared that with you. If it works out, I'll share it. If not, then I'll be the laughing stock of YouTube, I guess. It's no problem. I'll still be me. But boy, oh boy, do people really want to hate? They sure do. Right as the Andrew Tate of the stock market. Fantastic. Funny stuff, man. Andrew's in the house, spent all my money on GoPro. Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, those are the old school days, man. I tell you what, I can reach back into the archives. I've just had a lot of people tell me I need to focus on my thing and not everybody else. What I just can't understand is why 50,000 lemmings watch every video that that guy comes out with. It just, it's dumbfounding, but not surprising to me, because I think people who are people and are human beings try all too often to, I don't know, step back in the evolutionary chain and become sheep. I don't know. I don't know. You're human beings, man. Think for yourself. All right. Have y'all reconsidered Nicola? Um, I have a real hard time with the company. I hope they do fine. It's not a one side or the other type of application. I think hopefully they'll all have their place. Yeah, I don't really get into this whole thing. I really don't. I've completely shut down the Yahoo thread. What a complete disaster, and a joke that is. Talk about censorship, man. Freak. Go put something into, you know, Yahoo thread that's somewhat controversial or somewhat challenging of someone. You'll come back in an hour and it'll be gone. Somebody has edited your stuff out. It's gone. Make no mistake about it, my friends. This is unedited, unscripted, unabated, and unequivocally me. Trust me, it's exactly what I want to say, how I say it, and how I want to deliver it to an audience. You interpret it however you want to, but make no mistake about it. It is coming out of my trap exactly the way I want it to. And you get the benefit of sitting across from me and actually watching me deliver the message as if I'm delivering the message at a cost. And there is no cost to consume my message, and you will be better for it. You really will. All right. Very cool stuff. Does Ryan interact with the chat? Nah. Nah, no interaction. Making you famous, JJE. It's all good, man. Welcome to the live stream. It's all good. Like I said, the initiative to exit the long calls in Nicola wasn't necessarily about Nicola, more so just a positional move. The market had moved so heavy, and I've been really, really crushed with my options position. So it made sense to actually segue some of a little bit of profit, kind of embolden the profit that I'm sitting. I'm up 60% in my highly on leaps right now. My $3 strikes, you guys can figure that right now. I mean, those are very valuable right now, because if it's above $3 by 2024 on 10 contracts, well, I have the option to buy, 1,000 shares of the company at $3. Yeah, this is why options are so profitable sometimes. Yes, it's stepping into a whole nother world. It's great. All right. But yeah, I try. You admins, like everybody in here is an admin. You guys can take care of this stuff for me. That'd be awesome. And I call this swatting the flies. Seriously. Do I want to have a good time? I always want to have a good time. All right. But you admins on here, break out your freaking wrench. Take care of business. All right. This is called swatting the flies. All right. Please take care of this. Jesus Christ. That's something else, man. Hey, Shaded. Very cool. Have you considered Nikola since the Q2 report? No, they reported 18 million, 47 units they delivered. What are the margins on those units? I, I, I give you all the credit in the world for having all the hope in the world. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, Nikola does not run a lean business model, man. They're going to have to sell a hell of a lot more units than 47 to make it into the future. And I just don't see it happening, man. I see margins being stressed. I mean, if they can make it happen and they're turning out thousands and thousands of volume, great. What infrastructure is available to protect this grid? And I know the Nikola um, diehards get tired of hearing that. I don't know why. Does it exist or not? Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. It's okay. That it's a bare bull thesis on a company is not a bad thing. And I think especially folks from the United States here need to be a little bit more open to having even combative dialogue because it's business, right? We're trying to get down to the right answer. But no, I looked at the Q2 report. The stock shot up, and I don't know why. Nikola gets a lot of favor for not doing a whole lot, and I don't think they're scrutinized as much as some are scrutinized. I don't. I think they're given a favor a lot of the times. I'd be hard pressed to suggest that the stock remains at $8 here, but who knows? I actually think with the favor in the stock market, the amount of volume that it does garner from day to day, it'll probably be up above 10 in no time. I do. But that doesn't mean that the company is worth taking a long-term investment is. Very, very different application when you're talking about a company and a stock. If you want to invest in the stock, go ahead. You probably do okay. I'd just be careful. I'd be very, very careful with it. Very cool stuff. Cruising through here, guys. Shonda's in the house, man. It's great to see you. Is all this moving I've been doing, I haven't watched for a while. It's okay. It's an open door policy. You're always part of the family here. You know that. That's part of my message. I have people who have been here for many, many years. And I hope that we bring in new people over the coming years and keep all of the devout subscribers to the message here for years to come. I really do. We're looking to build something special here, and I don't care how long it takes. We will get there. We will. And hopefully I can share with you guys some of the momentum that I'm looking to come through on this Hyliion opportunity here. Just here to watch a good message. And that's all we ever strike at, as is kind of addressing those things that I feel like people don't put a lot of attention on. And I think people could do a better job in focusing in on their financial discipline. So I always try to give you some things to think about, things that I think about, things that I deploy, things that I do, and things that hopefully you guys can put to work for yourself. But pretty robust crew here, man. Very cool. Got Ken's in the house, man. Have you ever looked at the VT ETF? I have. I don't like it. I think it's got more international exposure than I would want, and I know Strongman Personal Finance, who's a friend of the Independent Investor Channel, until I'm an enemy. I've had him on the live stream, and he's a good dude. He's sincere. He acts crazy. I hopefully he doesn't have a few screws loose upstairs, but I like Chris. I do. He's a big proponent to this, and VT could probably be a lot of people's answer to their own deficiencies in the stock market. In other words, you can invest in VT and be okay, but when I looked at the exposure rate to the global market, um, I don't want that much of my money exposed to global markets. And I've never heard him talk about this, which is concerning a little bit. And that's why I would focus a lot more on VTI. A lot of our companies that are US centric companies are global companies anyway. I don't really need my money going to 2 or 3 thousand geographic companies just for the sake of being globally diversified. But yeah, I'm not a fan. I've never invested in it. There are a few other. SCHD is the one that I'm looking at right now in my corporate account when I can wrangle the bank into authorizing that for me. But no, I'm not a big fan because of that. I looked at it on Vanguard's website. I looked at the global exposure, and I would probably rather opt for a VTI or a VOO. That's a good question, Ken. Thank you. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I saw when I looked at the ETF. Not to say that it's bad. It's just not for me, and I have exposure to Vanguard in a lot of different other capacities. But as a standalone, it's quite good. It's quite good. Yeah, very cool stuff, man. We cruise up here. Ken says Nicholas hot trash. I was trying to be above board here. Bob says I love the sheep video. I couldn't get to the things I do well. I think sometimes, guys, we're going to try to keep this live stream to less than 60 minutes here. Hopefully, you guys have learned something a little bit. A little bit of a far cry from last week's message when I was getting a little bit crazy. This week was a little bit more down to earth, a little bit more educational. Hope you guys didn't mind that. Sometimes we've got to come back and focus on the fundamentals a little bit as to what makes me tick and share that. If I'm not getting that across, then sometimes it gets misconstrued that, wow, this guy's incredible. He's a stock guru or whatever, which is kind of the opposite of the truth. It's the opposite. And I like to exploit that very thing in social media, and that a lot of people come on and they think that they need to be that person. I don't. I openly admit I'm not. And I just want to discuss what I think is the right way for people to look at to develop a little bit of discipline for themselves, and hopefully a better financial future for themselves. So, guys, I really appreciate, man. Very robust tonight. I will drop one more invite into the thread. I'm just chilling tonight. It's been kind of a cool week for me. Very enjoyable week. There it is. It's in the bottom of the thread. You're welcome to kick in here, rap with me directly. It's all good. The stock guru. Nah, just kidding, man. I don't bite. Just a regular fella having a nice cocktail with you guys on a Friday night. It's been real. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity here to share my story with you guys and hopefully bring an empowered group of investors with me along this journey, guys. Really appreciate it. Tune in next Friday for the Independent Investor channel, fastest 60 minutes on YouTube. Be well. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you next week.